Welcome back to season 7 of the Sista Brunch podcast. We are here continuing to bring you the stories of Black women and Black gender expansive people who are thriving in film, TV, media, and more. This guest today has done it all and will continue to. I think I'm excited for you to know this guest because she is changing through teaching, through nurturing the future of this industry. So very excited to welcome our incredible guest today, Ashlee Hypolite. And she is a Trinidadian. We had to make sure because I was thinking we had all Caribbean, and we do have all Caribbean. You Jamaicans, now Trinidadian, a little bit. We're mixing it up and we're okay with that. So let me tell you some more about Ashlee. So she currently serves as the executive director of a little organization, only the iconic Hollywood CPR, working at the intersection of film, TV, and social impact, helping the industry move from intention to accountability. Welcome, Ashlee.
Thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you here. You've done a lot of different things, but always in that kind of like social impact area in the industry. And so we like to start off by just understanding your journey. Take us as far back as you want. It could go back to Trinidad and your great-great-grandparents or your birth or your time in Hollywood. Yes. As far back as you want to go, but tell us how you ended up doing what you do today.
Sure. So, I haven't had the opportunity to like date back to when I actually want to start the story. So, okay. I'm going to start it in Boston, Massachusetts.
Yes.
So my parents, they actually met. They're both from Trinidad, but they met in Boston.
What were they doing in a cold place? Like that don't make no sense.
Yeah. Good, right? Good, because I think about that every day.
Yes, okay.
So my mom has such a fascinating story that I actually have only learned in recent years because she's been very like protective of that story. But I won't tell all her business. But she basically got herself out of a tough situation in Trinidad, and she started her life by herself in the United States, in Boston. And she was actually working at like a hair salon. She had all these random jobs, but she didn't have the privilege of like completing school and that sort of thing. So she found her way in Boston. She ended up meeting my dad, and my dad was, he concentrated in media and film at Boston University. Okay. And so he went to college, and he knew that he found like there was a lot of power in storytelling. And so that's what he wanted to do with his career. And they met, they had my sister, they had me. Yes. And so we went to Boston Public Schools for like the first, 9 years of our life. Mm-hmm. And then my dad walked in to my sister's classroom. We went to this school called the Orenburger. And he found there was like a child that was like throwing a desk across the classroom, and it was just chaos. And so he's like, you know what? I'm going to move us out of here, and we're going to find a better school district. So we ended up moving to the suburbs. Okay. And
where did you move to?
It was like 30 minutes outside of Boston. Mm-hmm. It was a town called Stoughton. Yes. But what that meant, it was a very white school. So we moved to a place where there was a lot of thriving diversity, and then we moved out and were raised in a very homogeneously white town. And I'm happy to say the story of that town has shifted, and there's a lot more diversity. But it was a very interesting way to be brought up, because there was just so happened to be like the other student of color was a little Trinidadian boy. And I don't know what the chances are of that. But anyway, we went to school there. I ended up, my sister went to Brandeis. I ended up following in her path. Also, she was like she's quintessentially like the first child that does everything right.
Okay.
Full ride to college, all of that good stuff.
Yes.
And then I followed in a
You're
less
pretty
impressive.
Good. Nah, I can't believe it. This is less impressive. My goodness. Okay.
Yeah. But we had a great, I'm like very thankful to my family. They made a lot of sacrifices for us, but my sister and I like very, very close. So I started my career in the nonprofit world. I helped kind of set up different philanthropic funds for charitable organizations and corporate partners and that sort of thing. So I was doing philanthropic consulting.
What do you study in school? And especially because you said you kind of had some film TV seeds planted from your dad. Was that still in your mind at all? So like when it came to philanthropy, were you looking for things in that arena?
What's interesting is my dad, he was always very resourceful. Like growing up, me and my cousins were the actors and actresses in his film projects that he experimented on us with. So we had like a horror movie. It was called Jealousy. And my sister, all you see, like the opening scene is my sister doing like the dead man's float in the pool because it like started off with her dead body. But she couldn't swim without closing her nose. So it's like her yeah, but it is really interesting because whenever I actually reflect on my life, I'm like, okay, all roads kind of did point to me ending up in this intersection of social impact and philanthropy and education and entertainment
too. Yeah. But what do you study in school then at Brandeis that leads you into philanthropy?
So I studied politics, sociology, and I minored in law. So I thought I was going to be maybe an attorney, or I thought I was going to do something in the nonprofit space, which that ended up being true. And all of my internships, I did an internship teaching. I also did an internship like advocating for gender justice through the International Criminal Court. So like everything kind of informed where I'm at. But yeah, politics, sociology, the study of people, how all of those things intersect is really what got me here.
Okay. We can get to this a little bit later, but because we're talking about philanthropy, I think it's so well worth talking about finances, right? Because it is about how nonprofits, how storytellers in a lot of cases are able to thrive, right? Both survive and also tell their story. So let's break down what philanthropy is really, and then what it looks like for you to work in philanthropy.
So philanthropy, and I think often people just kind of label themselves as a philanthropist or something like that. But essentially it is trying to contribute to the social betterment of the world. And that is often through charitable funds. So giving money.
Oh, so it's not always money. I guess that's so funny. That's how I think of it. But it really is. I mean, you can do in kind. You can.
Exactly.
Right?
Money is very helpful.
Yes.
But yes, you can also give in kind contributions. There are a lot of corporations that are able to provide space, or they're able to provide whatever their product is as an in kind contribution. But yes, it's just giving back for the betterment of the community.
So you found yourself with an ability to kind of like connect people who had the resources, whether it's in kind, whether it's, kind of material resources, whether it's money, to people who needed it or organizations that needed it, right?
Yes. So for me, it's really been a learning opportunity because I think a lot of people have their own ideas of what it means to create impact. And so often you're talking to companies or you're talking to people and you're asking them and you're asking yourself, like, how can they contribute in a way that leverages their positionality? So maybe that is like they hold a high stakes position in their company and they're able to kind of move politically in a way that can support this arm of the work. Or, like I said, the best contributions can be monetary. And
it's really nice.
and it is trying to also see where they can come in, because it's often like a growing experience between the two entities. So if the donor can come in at a certain level, but then as you get to know the donor more and they get to level up within their positioning, then they can give more. So,
okay, so it's like Hollywood in the sense of building the relationship, maintaining it, continuing on. Okay. It's so funny. Like, I realize I hear the word. I would love to know more philanthropists in my life personally, right? But then I'm always like, how does it happen? Yes, right. Yeah. Okay, so you end up working with some folks with big names. How do you kind of cross over into that?
Yeah, I will say that when I came to LA, I really didn't fully understand the landscape of entertainment. So I started off at CAA, and I really I don't think I understood like how big of a name CAA was.
Okay. It might be for the better.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But it was, I started off weirdly enough in the tech department, and then I ended up after that year working for one of the partners at CAA. And that's really when I was exposed to, okay, this is how CAA really is super influential, how they advocate for talent and all of the various arms of entertainment that they serve. So I think that was really interesting exposure to me. And it's like name of the game is there are a whole bunch of different clients that are coming in and walking through those doors. And so eventually I got to, sit in on pitch meetings, be a part of pitch meetings. I held a role where I was helping with a lot of the convenings and conferences. So convening a lot of artists of color so that they can come and kind of network and build their own enterprises and, just collectively help one another. And so that was a really great opportunity, but also an opportunity to understand, like, being in those spaces with super influential people, what to say, what to not say, the soft skills that I teach our students and we teach our students every day.
Yes.
But a part of that, I think there are two levels of like financial understanding. It's like understanding, the influence around you. And then I had my own journey because I was very much I started my first job was in the mailroom at Brandeis, and I got like this. I remember getting these checks of $20 and being like, "What am I going to do with this?" But it is one of those things where then your checks start getting bigger, and then you're like, "Oh, I need to put some of this money away." And it was actually a fellow, former person that I worked with at CAA that started to talk to a financial advisor, and then she put me on to her financial advisor. And then when I made some of these big jumps,
I was ready for it.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I was ready for it, but to this day I'm learning, and I'm learning that, you have your accounts and you let them just take out what they can. Okay. Like you're like, that just goes to my retirement. That just goes into that account. So yeah, it's that journey of learning, but also learning how to keep an organization sustainable. A nonprofit needs to have reserves. What is that process? And those are all things that I'm building with the organization as well.
So then let's talk about Hollywood CPR, because one, it is, when you talk about pathways programs in the industry, it is the first one. Every studio that I'm in touch with is always working with you all. The other folks are very jealous, right? But it's because there's kind of a history there. But you have recently, not recently anymore. What are you, 2 years in of running the program, which is amazing. And we hear nothing but incredible stories about how you're doing. So let's start by just tell everyone what Hollywood CPR is. Let's start there.
So Hollywood CPR is a nonprofit organization that provides workforce development for the below the line crafts of the film and TV and live event industries. And so we are the IA signatory program. So what that means is that we are referenced in the bargaining agreement, and we are very much union approved training. So we have union members come into the classroom and provide their instruction. And so as the industry evolves, all of our instructors are active in the industry, so they're able to impart their wisdom in the next generation of entertainment folks.
And it's one of the only programs where you can build to your union membership by being enrolled, right?
So if you can complete all of the standards of the program, get the 640 hours of experience. So our program has instruction, classes, training, and also these hours of experience and sign off of your instructor. And so when you can meet all of those marks, you get entry-level union placement.
Let's talk about the different programs that you offer.
So we have our film and TV pathways consist of set dressing, grip, set lighting, costume. We also we're working on a construction pathway, hair and makeup, and set painting and editing as well.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I love it. And when you came in, things were we'll say the person who was running it passed away, sadly.
Yes.
And so it really kind of, I think, needed just a boost.
Yeah.
And now that's what you're doing.
We really, like, the crux of our training has always been in partnership with the community college. Okay. And so right now we're actually negotiating a district-wide contract so that we're able to have a few different training hubs. But we trained this last set of set lighting and grip training. We were able to train with one of our local partners. So it was Local 80 and hosted there.
Okay.
And then we now have, we're running a training course at the Palladium because the Palladium is a training house for our local 33 members. Okay. So we're running training, and then folks get to be trained and hired over at the Palladium. So yeah, it's been a really exciting role. I think out of all of the positions I've had, being able to get people jobs is the most exciting and the most rewarding because, you know, we're not only getting people jobs, but we're helping to start careers. We're able to provide folks with those soft skills, all of the professionalism tips that someone that's really new to our industry, which is who we recruit, wouldn't know right off the bat. So yeah, it's a privilege, and I
feel like we have to say, because I think so many of our listeners, we've got so many people who are kind of like across the country interested in moving to LA. Yeah. And so what would they need to do to be part of the program?
Yeah, well, you can go to the website, so hollywoodcpr.org. And depending on the pathway that you're interested in, it's a little bit of a different process. But if you have a traditional craft pathway that you're really interested in, that consists of kind of taking these foundational classes, intro to production. You take a course on tools, really understanding the fundamentals of the business, and then you graduate on to get your instruction in a level 1 and level 2 course. So you can take grip level 1, grip level 2, or a set of training, and then that unlocks your ability to start earning hours on set. So to complete the program, you have to have hours on set. And a lot of students who come through the program, they also get these coveted opportunities that are traineeships. So they get to train on studio sets. Yes. We have a number of studio partners that help kind of bridge that learning gap. And then, yeah, we are really being intentional about making sure folks are ready for an industry that is, you know, it's hard, and you have to set yourself apart, and you have to constantly be networking, constantly extending your network in really unconventional ways because the business has changed so much. And we always encourage folks to be entrepreneurial, to really make a website or showcase your work in really interesting ways. And so, yeah, it's been really interesting to try to meet the industry in this current moment. But it is an exciting challenge, and our team is doing what they can to meet that challenge.
You're doing so much. There's lots of ways that you can support us on Sista Brunch. You can join our Patreon, patreon.com/SistaBrunch, SISTA Brunch, or you can follow us on Instagram at Sista Brunch Podcast. That's SISTA Podcast. Join us there, engage with the content. Let us know what kind of guests you might want to have on or questions that you have for us to ask our guests. We appreciate any and all engagement that you give us. It helps us grow as a podcast. It helps reach more people, so we appreciate it.
Hi, Sista Brunch fam. My name is Ashlee Hypolite, and you are watching Sista Brunch Podcast.
Okay, actually, I'm realizing this is a perfect financials segment to ask you, what does it cost for someone to be part of Hollywood CPR?
Yeah, so depending on the pathway, and like I said, we're negotiating with the community college, so this may look different, but our actual training through Hollywood CPR is free. So
I'm just saying, do we hear this?
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. Yeah.
And when we do work with the community college, if you're able to enroll full time and if you do exhibit financial need, the community college is also a really flexible way to kind of get some of those costs alleviated. So that's why the community college partnerships are so important to us as opposed to private institutions that we could partner with. So we try to make it as affordable or free. And we want to keep it that way. So that's why we need the funder.
Philanthropist is what we're saying. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Our next segment is called Let's Talk Tech. So this is a term, it could be verbiage. It could be an actual tangible physical thing that you use that if someone outside of what you do heard the term, they would have no idea what it was.
Yes. Well, this is one of the questions that I was like, don't know if I'm super prepared. But then I was thinking about what I do in my day-to-day, and that's working with all of the unions and all of the numbers that come around with the union. So for example, Local 33.
Yes, you've said like IA.
It's stagehands.
Local this and local that. So tell us more.
So that was an exciting learning curve for me when I was starting because all I was hearing around me as I was onboarding was Local 33, Local 80, Local 728.
Right.
And I was like, okay, what does that mean? So I had this little cheat code with all of the locals, all of the unions and what numbers correlated with which union.
Okay.
And so, I think that it can shift depending on your geography, but essentially in LA, we have a number of unions that make up, that are IATSE unions. And so for us, Local 33 is stagehands, Local 80 are grips, also can refer to medics and a number of other crafts, but essentially they all correlate with crafts or trades.
Okay.
And it is really, and when we say below the line, we mean the behind the scene roles, that sort of thing. So there's a number of terms that I did not know. So everyone you need to know that you have the potential to learn and you can learn it quickly. And now I know them like the back of my hand. So
that's so good. Okay. And I just love it. I want we're always especially looking for, first of all, we want a gaffer on this show. Okay. So if you're training Black woman gaffer,
student, I'm sure we have a student.
That's what we need because we can't find one. So please, that's what we would love. And you talked about the grips, and these are really, what I love about Hollywood CPR is I think these are roles that people don't think about. They come to Hollywood and you want to go straight to director, writer, and producer. And those are great and important, but you have to do so much before you get to do those roles. And this is an amazing place to learn and maybe find something that you didn't know you love, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I always think that there's just so many classifications within a union, Local 44, the set dressing union. It's also props and it's also construction and it's also upholstery and all of these other areas that, you go into the unions, you then eventually after a few years can specialize and it's really
there's so much open to you. Yeah. It is not just, the roles that you hear about. Exactly. There are people that are making all the other stuff happen on the sets, right? And on those, your favorite projects that are other things happening. I love it. Okay. This has gone by too fast. We will have you on next season. We're going to tell ghost stories together. Maybe we'll have you do. So Ashlee has a podcast about with ghost stories. So we'll make sure we plant seeds on that. But our signature Sister Brunch questions. So Ashlee, you and your younger self are sitting down to a Sister Brunch. And she can be whatever age you choose, maybe an age where she needed to hear from you now. What are you both eating? What are you both drinking? And then what do you tell her?
This is such a good question because it really had me stuck as well as I was thinking about it. What would we have? I think I would meet my younger self at that awkward middle school age.
Oof, yes.
Where you don't understand what's going on and you feel really insecure. And we would have, because at this time, you know, we're going into the past. My grandmother would still be alive. She's the best cook. So she would make us a really good, she'd make us pepper pot, which is a Guyanese dish because she's from Guyana.
Oh, nice.
And
nice. Okay, I gotta know what's in pepper pot.
Well, you can make it with different kinds of, I'm pretty sure it's beef, but it's like, there is a certain, I forgot what the base is, but basically it's like a preservative. So the more you cook it and you don't have to like refrigerate it, it like the flavor just comes through.
Wow.
And so you just have it in a pot simmering and it's delicious. And you eat it with some white bread and it's very like saucy. It's like stew chicken, but like deeper stew.
Okay.
And so we would be having that. And I think my older self would always opt in for a coffee. But with my younger self, maybe I'd have like a solo. Maybe I'll have like a soft drink.
Okay. How do you take your coffee?
Oh, black.
Really? What?
Yeah.
No, nothing? No sugar? No.
Sometimes, like if it's aggressive.
So are you drinking it because you like the flavor, or are you drinking it to be able to stay awake?
Depends.
Okay.
I had my little European life and I was drinking it for the flavor. And then when I came back to the States, I was drinking it to stay up.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
All right. So that's what I would do with my younger self. Okay. That's what I would eat. And yeah, I would just say that, you know what, girl, you're going to grow into that nose and you are going to grow into your awkwardness. You're going to find a person that can fix up your unibrow and you, you're going to make your way and trust the process, trust the journey, and everything's going to make sense soon.
Thank you, Ashlee. We love your nose. We love your unibrow or not. You're amazing, and truly, what you're doing is so impactful, deeply impactful. People you're changing lives because you're teaching people.
It is a privilege
how to really work, and then you allow those of us who push for inclusion. You allow us to be like, don't tell us that they're not out there, right? You have
100%.
all these incredible graduates. Yep. Been able to see a couple graduations there at Hollywood CPR, and it's such a beautiful experience. So thank you for everything you do. And thank you for being part of the Sister Brunch family.
Thank you for having me. This is so great. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Sister Brunch is brought to you by Trujillo Productions. Our show creators are Anya Adams, Christabel Nsiabwadi, and me, Fanshin Cox. Our season 7 producers are Tasha Rogers and Samantha K. Henderson. Our associate producers are Charlie T. Savage and Ashanti Groves. Sister Brunch is recorded on the unceded territory of the Tongva and the Chumash people in Hollywood, this time at U Podcaster Studios. Thank you so much for listening and watching and sharing and subscribing and reviewing us on Apple and Spotify. We're so grateful for all you do for our community, and we're grateful for you for being part of our community. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next time.